most of us would agree that the human species was created by an higher intelligence we call God, right? And most people would agree that if there was a devil, that he doesn't have any creative powers. So I need to bring this a little more into focus, because we tend to label those things that we cannot compute as, like in particular, the behaviors that are so atrocious, we cannot compute how that could come from God. But let me take you back to the opening statement, that everything is created by God. And in the human species, God created the software that we know. Actually, no, it's not software, it would be hardware that we know as the ego, the defense mechanism to keep this body safe. So God created the hardware for this human body, for this existence, for there to be an ego that protects this body at all costs, at all costs. So God is the creator of the ego. God is the creator of this hardware. And that hardware has different softwares that it runs with. And I guess this ties in to the whole topic of narcissism again. How do some people's hardware, ego, play such a incomprehensible role? How do people become like that without it being the creation of some devil? The devil doesn't create anything. The hardware comes from God. One could say the devil created the software, but ultimately everything was designed and created by, quote unquote, God. And we become the expression of causality, cause and effect. And even the narcissist is a creation of God in that sense, if God is all. And whatever cause created the effect in the narcissist, which is complex. We don't have the capacity in the memory of one lifetime to even comprehend. Our brain is a fragile component. Some people become narcissist after suffering head trauma and head injury, brain injury, like something got shook loose. Who can tell, right? The reason why I have a compassionate heart towards the worst of people in this world is because in a moment of stillness, I ask myself, how is it that I have been so lucky to have a good, healthy head on my shoulders? Why me? What did I do to deserve living a quote-unquote normal life, right? I could have been the narcissist, I could have been the murderer, I could have been the serial rapist. What have I done to escape that fate? What has any of us who are somewhat normal done to deserve the fate that was handed to us? And so I'm very much aware of that could have been me. And when you put yourself in those shoes, it takes the fire out of our condemnation. It certainly has taken the fire out of my condemnation, my judgment. Because if I were to use a religious term, it's by grace that I am who I am. And I don't know how it works, how karma works, or if I just pulled a lucky card. I don't know. But I want to make sure that my karma is dissolved and that I don't create more karma for myself by being in judgment of people that cause harm. I don't know why it is they cause harm, but I'm certainly not solving their problem by pointing my finger at them in condemnation. That doesn't solve the problem. At this point, I don't know what the solution is. But maybe there isn't meant to be a solution. Maybe the point of it all is for us to come to the recognition of neutrality. For us to ascend ourselves, to pull ourselves out of the consciousness of duality, of this judgment. And in doing so, we enter the next life cycle. We enter into a world where judgment and condemnation and this duality doesn't exist. Perhaps that's how it works. And if we remain in a judgmental mindset, we're going to keep rebirthing into a judgmental world where these contrasts are really emphasized and magnified. So maybe we're not changing this world. Maybe we're just changing our personal world when we change internally by choosing to not be dual anymore, by not making the judgments, to ascend ourselves into a more harmonious consciousness and frequency. Maybe that's all we're here to do. We're not here to actually change physical people here. We're just changing the level of consciousness, which gives people a choice to ascend or not. I keep being pulled into this idea that it's my job to change other people, but it's not my job to change other people. It's just my job and responsibility to change myself. And other people are welcome to join this consciousness bubble and change themselves and ascend themselves out of this lower consciousness of judgment and condemnation, of duality, of right and wrong. So maybe we're here to create our next conscious world that we individually incarnate into, the new reality. So change yourself. You can't change another person, but you can change yourself. You can upgrade yourself to desiring something different, to desiring a world without the narcissists and the murderers. But you have to start within yourself, where you see a world where that no longer has to be, but you have to become that world to emit that frequency and vibration. You have to become the neutrality, right? So, morning musings.